Feeling confused about what you can deduct when it comes to your business taxes? Well, stick around and I'll tell you what you can and cannot deduct on your business tax return. First, why do deductions even matter? Well, a tax deduction reduces your taxable income dollar for dollar. So that means if you have a tax deduction of $100, you'll pay tax on $100 less dollars. Now, that doesn't mean that you're saving $100 on taxes. Depending on your personal situation, you may be in a tax bracket that's anywhere from 10% to 37% at the federal level, plus your state tax as well. And so if you're spending $100, you might save anywhere between $10 and $37 on federal taxes. So you're not saving an entire $100. Now, you absolutely should take advantage of every tax deduction you have, but you shouldn't spend money on stuff that you don't need just to save a little bit on taxes. I'd rather you not spend $100 on stuff you don't need and pay the tax and then have money left in your pocket than just get stuff that you really don't need. So in order for an expense to be business deductible, the IRS says it has to be ordinary and necessary. And that means that it's commonly used in your trade or business. You'll notice that what the IRS rule does not say is that it has to be indispensable. It really does not. So for example, you might be able to run your business without ever running ads. That is possible, but running ads is likely going to make your business more profitable, more successful, and in turn, that means that you're going to pay more in taxes. So that is just a normally accepted expense in your trade or business. Be careful though, just because you wish something was deductible does not mean that it is. There's 3 common areas where I see people go wrong here. One is personal items like clothing, massages, or self-care. Now, even though you might be buying clothing that you just wear at work and you don't wear outside of work, that unfortunately does not make it tax deductible. If you could wear it outside of work, even if you don't, then it's not a tax deduction. Those are just personal items that are part of, living your life. You have to wear clothes to go out and be in the world, and that's just how it is. The second area is personal travel. If you are going to Disney with your family and decide to tack on a 1-hour continuing ed class, that doesn't magically make your whole trip tax deductible. Now, if your travel is primarily for business and then you tack on maybe a visit to your sibling, that still could be deductible. But taking a personal trip and adding on a little thing to try to make it fully deductible, that doesn't work. Even if a trip was mostly for business, if your spouse and children are tagging along, their travel isn't going to be deductible unless they're working for the business. Now, the third area where you see people deduct expenses that really are not tax deductible is personal therapy. Yes, you are a therapist. Yes, there's a really good chance that you are in therapy as well. And unfortunately, that is personal therapy. That doesn't make it tax deductible. Just in the same way that going to the dentist to get a filling is not tax deductible, to the business at least. It might make you better at your job because your tooth isn't hurting, but it doesn't make it a business expense. Now, you may be eligible for a medical deduction on your personal tax return, but your personal therapy is personal, and so it's not tax deductible. Now, if you are getting case consultation with another therapist, that is definitely deductible to the business, and you should issue them a 1099 for that as well. So what are some of the items that are ordinary and necessary and that are good tax deductions for therapists? Well, first we have your rent. If you have a business office where you see clients, you absolutely can deduct that rent. Then we have software, all the different software and computer items that you might need to run your business, like your EHR, your email, your phone line. All of those items are going to be legitimate tax deductions. And so you should track that carefully so you can deduct it on your taxes. Your marketing and advertising costs are also tax deductible. So your Google ads or Facebook ads, your directory listings, any of the items that you use to market yourself, those are going to be tax deductible as well. So like your business cards and any flyers that you're printing, you could absolutely deduct those. The merchant fees for your payment processing platform are also deductible. Now, in some cases, you're going to have to go into the software to find out what those are, and you're going to have to increase income and increase your expense in your records because the fees have already been deducted. So you don't get to deduct something twice, only just the one time. But you are able to take a deduction for those merchant fees And so if you're using a credit card processor, take advantage of that deduction. Here's another one that people often forget. It is mileage. If you are driving for the business, so going from one office to another, running an errand for the business, or even going to a continuing ed course, that mileage is tax deductible. Now in 2025, that's deductible at a rate of 70 cents per mile. And what you have to do though to get that deduction, you have to keep a log. That log can be a paper log that you keep in your car, or it can be an app that you have on your phone that is going to track the different trips that you take. Now just note that your commute from your home to your office, that is not tax deductible. When it comes to deductions, the key is to track your expenses throughout the year so you have accurate records. And when it comes to tax time, you have a list of all of the expenses that happen in the year so that you can get a proper deduction for those items. Now, I'll leave you today on a commonly asked question I get about sliding scale slots. A therapist will often ask me, well, if I reduced my rate for a client, can I take a deduction for the amount that I reduced my rate? And unfortunately, the answer is no, because you never received that full amount. There really is nothing to deduct. You're only paying tax on the amount that was received from the client minus any deductions of expenses. And so you don't get in our tax code a deduction for your time. If you're just spending time or giving a free pro bono session, you unfortunately don't get a deduction for what you could have earned in that time. And so that is just something that you do out of the kindness of your heart. If you found this helpful, like and subscribe for more financial tips for therapists in private practice.